Hey, welcome back to another video. So today I have a very important lesson that I want you to take away, and that is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how well your items have performed in the past. Now, I know that's quite a bold statement, but let me explain, okay? When you have something that does well, of course you're going to want to replenish it, so you buy more. It does well, you replenish, you buy more. It does well, you replenish, you buy more. And that cycle continues on and on and on and on. But when does it stop? Okay? Because it's important to assess when that time is, because just like any new item that you've never sold before, when you do an analysis, if it doesn't look good to you, what do? You don't buy it. You don't go ahead with it because it doesn't make any sense. It's just going to drag your business down if you do. Okay? It's going to be an anchor. But what time does that come with items that you currently have in stock? Now, there'll be some things that you know you're not going to replenish and that you know you'll buy, and it's either a test product, or you know you're buying the right amount for the time frame that you see it being popular for, and you're going to take advantage of that opportunity and then done. But then for items that you've maybe been selling for weeks or months or maybe even years, it's important to always re-analyze the product, okay? Now, I've got what I believe is a prime example of why one needs to do that, okay? If you're not re-analyzing every time you're replenishing, you're falling into the trap that quite a few Amazon sellers fall into, where buying certain things becomes routine and they don't think twice about it. They just assume that it's going to do well, but never assume, okay? Because assuming can be costly. So what can we do to avoid that? The same thing that we would do to avoid things being costly in the first place: an analysis. Even if you're doing a quick one just to run over the sales IP, just a quick glance at the charts, even something like that is better than nothing, okay? Because you can very quickly clock elements of it that concern you, and if the item has stopped being useful, it needs to go. It just needs to be cut off and it needs to be done, okay? Otherwise, as I say, it's an anchor on your business. Now, if we take a look at this product right here, this is a really good example of it. Okay, so we can see that this movie, really great movie, by the way. I rate this one. I absolutely love it. I was walking into this movie in the cinema not expecting it to be what it was, and I didn't really know what to think of it prior, but anyway, I just went and saw it for some reason. I just wanted to, and fantastic movie. Okay, if you haven't seen it and you're really into things like Die Hard and so forth, this is a great movie and you'd really like it. Anyway, I'm not here to sell you a movie. I'm here to advise you to reanalyze. So if we take a look at this product now, you can see very clearly from this chart the difference between what was going on last year for the last couple of months to what's been happening since around January time. You can see that the difference in BSR is night and day. But what you can also see is that there is a drastic lack of movement in the past couple of months, whereas prior to January, there's quite a lot of movement there. And as we know, we want as much movement as we can get on this line, because for every bit of movement, that means there's been sales for the item. Okay, so we can see that from around this point here, basically the start of the year, things started dying off for the DVD version of this movie. Okay, you'll often find that this is a regular occurrence with a lot of physical media, because it comes out, people get it because it's new, and it just due to availability and so forth, that they'll get it when it's new and they'll order it. But then after a certain time frame, it will die off. Some last longer than others, don't get me wrong, but eventually it will die off because the people that wanted it have got it. And then what happens is these things start to go into the second-hand stores on the high streets and so forth. People are buying from there rather than Amazon, because why pay full price for something when they can get it basically new but second-hand from one of these stores, and it's a lot cheaper? It just makes sense. So with a lot of physical media like this, it is dated. It will have a cut-off date where it just isn't that good from that date onwards. And we can see basically where that's happened with this one. Now, if we have a look at the estimated sales as well, so over the last 90 days, 738 sales. Okay, in the last 30 days, there's only been 7 sales. So obviously you can see how drastically the BSR has gotten worse for this item and how there's also a drastic lack of movement. So if we look at the predicted sales, obviously the difference is quite significant. So this item is on its way out, okay, and it will happen faster than you think. By the rate of how that has dropped and how that's been moving, it's on its way out, okay. If we look at the breakdown of the sales, so we can see, I forget when exactly it came out. I think it was maybe around this time last year. Anyway, or was it earlier than that? I don't know. Anyway, I can't remember. So we can see that from around the summertime, when I believe this film like really took off in the stores because people loved it in the cinema. It was really highly rated. I think it won an award or something. Anyway, you can see that from summertime onwards, really good sales all the way up till the end of the year. Okay, and then January, 247 sales. Now, January is a bit of an exception month, as is February to some extent, because people are spent out after Christmas. You might have noticed that with some of your sales. Hopefully you haven't, but if you have, then that could be why people are spent out after Christmas. They've already done their buying. There's not really much need to do much in the way of buying stuff in January because Christmas has come and gone, New Year's has come and gone, for anyone that was doing New Year's sales and so forth. So January is a bit of a weird one when you're looking at sales data. But you can see February 499 and then March 7. Drastic change, okay? And you can see that reflected in the chart. Very drastic change, barely any movement during this time period where it lines up with what we are seeing here. I mean, we are only 1-2 days into April and there's only been 1 sale. So I wouldn't expect this to do anything like what we were seeing in that better period. So it's on its way out. So if you were selling this item and assessed the upwards trend it would have had around June time, if we take a look at that, we can see it was getting better and better and better. And if you were here during this curve and you bought it then, you could have enjoyed, and you would have enjoyed, many months worth of good sales for this product. But now is the time to stop, okay? We can see that very clearly here. It's definitely time to stop selling this item. Unless something drastically changes, but from what we can see, it's on its way out. So this is when we need to cut this off. So instead of just assuming that it's going to do well because we've enjoyed so many months worth of it and going, yep, no brainer, carry on. No, we have to cut it off. And that's the same for any item whereby you see these sorts of things when you reanalyze. Things can do well for years, like as long as that, and then eventually one day they can go. Things especially like, for example, Lego sets is another one because they're only around for a year or 2, maybe 3 depending on how popular the set was, before Lego then retire it. And then obviously as availability dies down, therefore people buying it from Amazon, that's going to die down as well. So there's lots of things that are dated, and that's what we do as Amazon sellers. We hop from opportunity to opportunity, and it's important never to get into the routine and just assume, because that's when it's going to be costly. So always do a quick reanalysis. Just brush through things. Just to have another look. Take a look at the charts. Take a look at the estimated sales. Look at IP, because if you have heard the news, for example, Vans products in the US, they are basically on their way out, as in only Amazon, Vans, and Vans approved sellers, where they've got a special deal with Vans. They're the only people that can sell them on Amazon now. And Vans, as you may well know, used to be the pinnacle of shoe reselling, because you could often get them really cheap from lots of places, where you're not paying the full price that they would be if you bought them from Vans directly. So that had its time. It was amazing. Lots of sellers had a great time with Vans products, and now it's basically done because Amazon and Vans are the only ones that can sell them. So things like IP come into play, things like just the natural decay of popularity that can come into play. It's not necessarily something that's very, like, within our control. That's just down to how everything goes. So yeah, quick reanalysis can save you money. Thank you for watching.